Hello and welcome to Across the Desk with Elizabeth Kloof. I'm here today with my guest Doug Osborne from Doug's Unlimited, and apparently I am popping Doug's podcast cherry.
Good way to start an interview. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Welcome, Doug. I'm so glad you're here. This is very exciting because we've met
Several occasions, yeah.
4 years ago.
So it's time we chatted.
Well, it's always in events, right? So, like I'm either the one running the event or running around at the event or whatever, which really doesn't.
This is you and me today.
Oh, you, me, Iron Man, and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it's special.
It is special. I have an Avengers thing. It's it either discombobulates people or they just think I'm fantastic. So I tend to go with the hopes that it inspires the fantastic thought.
That's good. Get you through the day.
The Avengers? Well, I never thought. I could stand like Iron Man. There's a TED Talk. I'm going to segue for a moment. But it is a strategy. There is a TED Talk about, now if you drop Iron Man, that's my only one.
I'm good.
He's precious to me. There is a TED Talk, and I can't remember her name, and she talks about the power of standing like a superhero for 3 minutes.
Amy Cuddy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See? That's why I have smart
Fake
people
it till
on.
you make it.
I love it.
I showed it at some of my sessions.
Do you?
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
just love it. Like, what a fantastic
Best thing
strategy.
before a negotiation, a job interview. It works. I listened to Hard Rock on the way over here this morning.
Because you were anticipating a problem.
I mean,
Elizabeth's going to be a hard ass.
How is it not going to make you feel good? Right? So
True.
No,
true.
I've watched your videos several times.
I have too. I really enjoy it. I haven't done the hard rock thing because I have road rage. Full disclosure. I am that driver. I would never ever hurt anybody, but I'm that driver behind the wheel dropping F-bombs like I have Tourette's. Like, it's ridiculous. So I tend to listen to Mozart and Bach and Vivaldi. And
It's too relaxed.
I have to.
If I'm co-facilitating with somebody, they think I'm crazy because I put on Hard Rock and we listen to it just before we go to the event.
It gets you pumped.
It does. Every time. It's cool.
Sweet Home Alabama.
You gotta have fun with it. Oh, yeah.
Or Jump. Van Halen.
Yeah. There's so many.
That'd be a good one. That'd be a good one to open up a conference with.
Mm-hmm.
And picture David Lee Roth jumping around like a loony bird.
Gets going. I've never gone into bathroom stall and done the big stretch the way Amy describes it. I've never done that, but yeah.
Okay, well, I'll share a bathroom story.
You got to figure out what motivates you. Music is one of them that energizes you.
Yeah,
Somebody
that's a very good
having
idea.
an enthusiastic conversation with somebody that gets you pumped. And there's a whole bunch of things to get you pumped, and one of them that Amy talks about is a position and the big stretch. Make yourself big, and you.
Oh, I saw that. So I'm not gonna do, because I got legs crossed on a lady, but it's the full ankle at knee and broaden everything out and whatever.
Yeah,
it sounds so fake though. I mean, it's a good strategy in your head to be doing it, but I think if I were to physically present myself that way during a meeting, it would be so ako taco. I'd be laughing after a minute going, you know what? I'm trying this thing. It's not working for me. So just let me adjust. Put everything back where I should. But you're talking about a bathroom stretch. So this is our funny Friday story. So I went to a networking event. I network a lot. And in an ironic twist, I'm an introvert, right? So I find large social gatherings draining. So if you're an extrovert and you walk into a large social gathering, you're like, yeah, lots of people, woohoo! And after about an hour and a half, I'm like, you all need to die. Just, not physically, but I get just sucked dry. And so I walked into this event and I was already in the sucked dry mode. And I walked into the bathroom and I hope nobody else was in there, but I remember just standing right in the middle going, I do not want to be here. This is not my circus, not my monkeys. I want to go home. And then I think like a stall door opened and I was like, oh, damn it. It's not as alone as I hoped I would. But even taking that moment as a strategy to go into the bathroom and acknowledge that it was just not a great day for me, but I knew I had to be there. I'm like, all right.
And you went back out.
Put my big girl pants on and and out I went.
It's all psychological.
Or psycho.
But it helps. It helps.
I completely agree. So one of the things that I start every talk with, which people sort of either embrace or flinch from, his eyebrow just went up, which you can't see. Is tell me about you when you were a little boy. What did you want to be? So, Doug's flying around and Doug's Unlimited is a twinkle in your subconscious. What did you want to be?
When I was a little boy.
Growing up in Alabama, what was that?
The earliest recollection that I can come up with as a kid was I did a number of school, public school projects in the RCMP. Yeah.
Okay.
Please. I don't know whether it was a musical ride, whether it was the nice red outfits or whatever.
They are kind of handsome.
I'm never described as disciplined, but anyways, that eyesight wasn't going to work, those days to get into RCMP, so I moved on. Yeah. High school days, I was heavy into aquatics, like lifeguarding and competitions and just.
You're gonna be the next David Hasselhoff.
I developed. I wish.
We'll call you the Oz instead of the Hoff.
I think I developed gills during high school, but it was in water all the time.
See, you are an adventure because Aquaman.
I hadn't thought of that.
See,
I like that. Okay.
There you go.
So I can't say that I've held on to any one, destination
no burning
in terms
ambition
of
at that point.
career life. No.
No fireman.
No.
Stuntman.
It's where life takes you and what you enjoy doing and stuff. So.
Cool.
At university, thought
you
I was.
Must have been super fun in the career counseling office. The counselors are going, I just don't know.
I just sit there, they're saying, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I say, well, I don't know. You got any ideas? So it's about being open. I mean, even university, I thought I was going there to pursue the recreation or the kinesiology kind of stuff, and just didn't enjoy the sciencey part, and ended up in environmental studies at Waterloo, and
you had a bit of a loopsie doodle.
Just love that.
Yeah.
I came down from Sudbury as a Northern Ontario boy.
Was that where you're from?
Yeah. Well, most of the growing up. Born and bred Albertan in Calgary, and kidnapped to Quebec for 5 years as a young boy with the transfer, my father's transfer.
Did you know that I was born in Quebec?
There's another
synergy, man. Aquaman and Quebec.
They're building. So it's where life takes you, and I
so you're
even with the environmental studies,
yeah.
The last year, I took a business course, or last 2 years, I guess, took a business course third year, and was just totally blown away with it, and so shifted the last couple of years into the business stuff. So I ended up with a minor degree in economics, major in environmental studies, and then got in the corporate world in an corporate environmental group with CIL Corporation, which used to be a household name with industrial chemicals or paint, ammunition, fertilizer, like.
How does that all come together?
So
you make the bombs look pretty?
So then I wrote into the corporate environmental group on my white horse, and I was going to save all the environmental issues with this chemical company, and
they promptly said no.
No, it was interesting. I learned a lot during that process, but really, like so many university degrees, it's an entry point. And
I am not university educated.
Well, it depends on how we get the education. That's all. Yeah. It's experience, right? But
I keep going to college. Gone 3 times now. I have 3 different, degrees, diplomas, whatever, in completely disparate, non-related. I think I'm done-ish.
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 I like the ish.
Well, you never say never, right?
No, that's absolutely.
I love going to school.
But that's more like that's applied learning, and that's what I'm learning is the important stuff, not the academic stuff.
Yeah.
It's experiential learning, and it's.
I think you and I share the undisciplined in public school. That's what my parents always used to hear. Elizabeth has no focus.
Well, I
hasn't changed much.
But energy has always been huge for me because at the age of 5, my parents had me making porridge for them in the morning.
Sweet.
I don't know if you wouldn't be old enough to remember when television actually started, and they had black and white. They had a screen in the first thing in the morning before television started up in the morning.
The bullseye.
That had it was actually a native Indian headdress.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Oh.
I would sit and
Thank
watch
you for that compliment.
I would sit and watch that. Okay, because I was already up in the morning.
Right.
All right. So, energy was. My wife still thinks I have attention deficit disorder because I'm always on the move. I had 2 paper routes by the age of 8.
Mm-hmm.
Bought half the family lawnmower so I could cut lawns. Like it just, so it. Anyways, it's been crazy. The pace has been.
But that's good. That's focused, though. I mean, my dad always used to tell me I was like a fart in a windstorm, and that was his. I know.
That just. Like, where do we take that?
No, because I was always running. I was always doing something. I was always flying in one door and out the other. There was no sort of sauntering. I never, have you ever seen A Knight's Tale? It's
no.
Heath Ledger. Anyway.
Okay.
So Paul Bettany plays Chaucer, and they come in, and there's a connection here. And they come across this character, and he's walking butt naked down the road. This is a medieval setting because he's been betting a little too hard on the jousts, and so he's been stripped of his clothing and what have you. But he talks about taking a saunter, like it's all these different words about walking, and they just have never been in my vocabulary. It's always been stop or go.
Right. Yeah.
So I was his little flower of the West, but I was also Elizabeth. Would you stop being a fart in a windstorm?
No, constantly on the move. I've never been academic, quote unquote. I've always been applied. So
but you're a learner, so there's.
Well, I'm a practical learner in the sense that if I have to put together a barbecue, I'm going to try and put it together. And if I have an extra part left over, then I'll check, the assembly. Mm. But otherwise,
I'm more of an instructor. See, that's a man-woman thing, I think.
Well, so it's. I've always been that way, and same with business. I'm afraid to try things.
But you have to
explore things. It's about discovery.
It is. So you've now done environmental sciences. You're trying to change the world through CIO. And so, at what point do you then?
Part of that responsibility in the corporate group was negotiation of environmental site licenses for a number of the manufacturing operations around Canada.
Right.
And I just seemed to develop this knack or this passion for negotiations.
Cool.
And loved getting involved in that process, and that eventually led me into the corporate purchasing department. Mm-hmm. And I think I was one of the youngest assistant managers in that department they'd ever had. But it was just the passion.
So you're still at CIL at this point?
Oh no,
CIL
hasn't been in existence for the last couple of decades. But learned a lot through a corporation like that. Mm-hmm. Very excellent training programs and development programs, succession planning, whatever. So it was just a good opportunity. So I went from the environmental field into sort of commercial, mm-hmm. and the rest of the career was commercial. So it was the purchasing, and then that led into product management. Mm-hmm. Whereas
so R&D and development and
product management was actually responsible for distribution of 1.3 million tons of sulfuric acid shipped around North America.
1.3 million tons.
Oh, a lot of uses, but literally unit trains heading from northern Ontario with being scrubbed out of SO2 gases, emissions at the mines and whatever, and converting that to usable sulfuric acid and shipping it all over North America. So
it's a cleaning agent, isn't it?
It was big. A lot of industrial uses, mm-hmm. But it taught me about corporate business and big business, mm-hmm. and a lot of negotiations with that, but also managing different businesses and what have you. So and then was shipped
a lot of different ways to do things.
Shipped out west because of some market issues that they were encountering with competition, and was shipped out there as sales manager to address the marketplace and try and turn things around.
All those darn tree huggers.
No, it had nothing. It was competition in terms of surplus production out there that people were just dumping into the marketplace. So we got that solved.
What type of product are you talking about, sir?
Again, sulfuric acid, like industrial chemicals. So it's about being open to where business takes you, where life takes you. So in terms of any specific career paths, no.
It's just happened.
Where it takes you and what you enjoy doing.
True. So, it's taken me a long time to figure that out. I spent 20 odd years being somebody's employee, and it was my last position that made me think maybe being an employee just isn't the best fit for me. And I tell this part a lot because it fits in. But my husband looked at me one day and he says, "You're not a very good employee." Okay. So
what makes a good employee?
Well, I wanted to know what made a bad employee first, because this is what he's telling me I am. And he said the problem is you don't know anything less than 150%. You don't know anything less than doing everything the right way and giving everything and whatever. I'm like, well, yeah, what's wrong? I don't understand the issue here. So I just have to keep an eye on the light and make sure that we're doing things right. And he said, but the problem is that the rest of employees only like to give 80%. Well, that's I don't ever judge anybody else. Like, if you're comfortable with 80%, good on you. And then like a year or two later, I was working with a business coach, and again he says to me, "Elizabeth, 99% is enough." I'm like, "Peter, I don't understand what you mean by that." He said, 99% is enough. You don't have to do 150. I'm like, I really am not comfortable with that concept. And so I think I would rather harness that energy for myself and use it to help clients and improve and whatever. But yeah, it took me a good 20, 25 years of being an employee and not being able to figure out why I was always butting heads and whatever.
Why would you bother holding yourself back? I mean, the number one metric, everybody talks about metrics for business, and the number one metric to me is what's your performance against your potential. So it doesn't matter what the competition does. It doesn't matter what you did last year. It doesn't matter what you. That's almost irrelevant. What I'm interested in is, okay, what's the potential of the business,
right? And
how can we access that? And so we actually adopted a mantra that said, "Let's see what this puppy can do." And it's, then you start. Think about it. When you start with that kind of a mantra, it's like, hey, this is fun.
Anything can happen,
right?
Yeah.
It's about putting the annual business plan in your bottom drawer, and saying we're not gonna operate this business to plan. We're gonna operate the business to potential, and it gives you two things now. It either you blow the plan out of the water because you far exceeded it, which is operating potential. You didn't limit yourself to, okay, we've hit plan, now we're good, kind of thing. But also gives you the confidence that if you didn't meet plan, if you didn't quite get there, you knew you tried the hardest you could have anyways.
Yeah.
And so it's very enabling to, so all of a sudden, out west, certainly with our business, we started being accused of sandbagging, the plan numbers because we were getting compounded growth. Sandbagging means, you're being ultra conservative with your forecast,
so that you're constantly exceeding.
This and that, yeah. Okay. So
low costing.
We were. I don't think there were any years that we didn't see some growth, but I think we experienced a compound growth of 8% or something year over year. And for the business, I was lucky to head up a management team that we moved the business to $20 to $60 million.
Sweet.
It was great. And we had fun doing it. It was treated like a family business.
Which makes a huge difference.
It's part of culture. It's part of, but it's all starts with the attitude that says, let's see what this puppy can do.
I like that.
And how can you not have fun with that kind of an attitude?
I would hope. we're going to talk about Spark the Change because I think you'd have a hoop, but anyway, that's another project I'm working on. So you're done selling acid to the tree huggers out in BC, and even
I mean, the West was very good to us. So we moved back in 2010. Had a father that was still alive, over 90, and a mother-in-law that was still alive over 90. And so we decided we wanted to come back and spend the remaining time with them. That's a priority. And so when we moved back, I was retired, or thought I had retired. I guess that was the first time I retired. And because we'd done very well, so since then, of course, mother-in-law and father have both passed away, but for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
So there's no regrets, and absolutely was a great decision to come back and spend the remaining time with them. So that was fantastic. But during that time, I started getting involved in angel investing and wanted to get back to the community because I can't stay away from business. I mean, strategy and stuff, it's passion. So I couldn't stay away and wanted to get back, and I had the time to do that. So in doing that, and I'm still actively involved in angel investing, but in doing that, I was getting increasingly frustrated by a lot of businesses that didn't seem to know what they wanted to be when they grew up. And how do you develop a game plan to a place you don't know?
So they were just going to remain a puppy for a lot longer than they needed to.
I guess, yeah.
Too much crate training.
Well, it's you gotta get focused, and you gotta know what you're building, and you gotta know who you're building it for, because everybody talks about the exit plan, but typically it's we're going to exit to this particular sector, in 3 to 5 years for $2 gazillion.
See, I was talking to a gentleman that I talk to quite frequently. We're talking about the fallacy of the Silicon Valley dream, or Silicon Valley dream. Sorry, Silicon Valley. That everybody gets into business with this notion that they're going to be able to exit in 2 to 5 years for X number of gazillion of dollars. And I think that really negatively impacts their ability to focus on their business and see those opportunities. I almost think thinking that way narrows what your business can do. I don't know. There's a term that's come out now called the evergreen entrepreneur, which I would like to think of myself as. Like I've just shut one business down, but it is what it is. My communications business, however, I don't see that ending. Right? And it's not that I'm not looking at it.
No, but you're being, they call it pivoting. Entrepreneurs are constantly pivoting, but you can put whatever label you want on it. But what you're doing is you're keeping the blinders open.
Yeah.
So that you're watching for opportunities, or if something isn't working, you're trying something else. That's just being flexible and seeing where things take you. You still want to be true to your core in terms of what you want to do with your life, what your passion is, what your vocation is, or what have you. But there's a lot of flexibility, and so back to my earlier part of growing up, it's about being open to what life's bringing your way, and to a certain extent, you will direct that direction. But did I ever think I would be doing what I'm doing today? Absolutely not. Because I was as a corporate, I was, back that generation was you go to university, you get your degree, you start into business, and you start a family, and that's just the standards. That doesn't even exist anymore in today's generation, and there's so much more freedom and flexibility and entrepreneurship, and of course, technology's changed, everything's changed so that it actually enables people to be able to do that, to be able to start businesses on a shoestring and exercise a lot of that technology. But at the same time, it creates entitlement, and people just automatically assume that it's a great idea, therefore it's going to work.
I'm reading a lot about that right now, and you got me thinking about something, because we're gonna jump into what you're doing now with the business dashboard and what have you. But to backtrack for just a second, the education programs that are out there right now around, the MBAs or what have you, I often wonder are they doing the students, and I don't know the program, so this is not a disrespect to DeGroote or anybody, but are they doing them a disservice by fostering the culture of start a business, sell it, versus explaining to them about long-term planning? And I don't know, and I don't know the program well enough, but it just seems to me every recent graduate that I get comes out, or speak to, comes out so hungry to start something and then sell it. Like there's no effort towards any kind of permanency, right?
Yeah, they certainly there's a lot of businesses that you can tell are sort of started up as a turnkey kind of operation, right? That it's like I'm only gonna take it to a certain, if the doors are going to fall off the car in year 5, I'm going to sell it year 4. But I mean, I've started focusing in on not on exit strategies, which almost speaks to a finality. It says, okay, I'm done with it now with somebody else. I start focusing on pass along strategy, and what that is a recognition that says I can build. I have the skill set to build this business to a certain point. Mm-hmm. And then it's better for me to hand it off to somebody else.
Well, have people around you that are smarter than you. Yeah, no, that I get. Yeah.
And it's no different even in corporate business. I mean, you have CEOs or business leaders that are really good at growing, accelerating businesses. Mm-hmm. You have others that are very good at maintaining.
Right.
You have others that are really good at diversifying. I mean, corporate world, they're changing out CEOs all the time.
Yeah.
And it's based on the skill sets that but with entrepreneurs, okay, you're all wrapped in that in one. It's you have to be all things. But it's a recognition that says, okay, so somebody, an entrepreneur should be or will be good at creation of the business, mm-hmm. and commercial, at least initial commercialization of this great idea.
Right.
And then recognizing that they may not be the greatest at taking it to that next level. And that's a good exit. But to just build it so that you can quickly, sort of get rid of it, sell it for whatever crazy multiple you're looking for. I mean, I started asking questions, and that's sort of how I got into this. Was I started asking questions of businesses, in terms of exit plans, not about, the sector and how much and whatever, but who are you building this for?
Right.
I want to know company A, B, and C.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that you're actually going to sell to them, but it puts a face to the potential suitor that's going to want your business. But it starts you thinking about why will they want you?
Yeah. No,
so you got to understand why they want you and who you're building it for. That's when now you're starting to create substance and value mm-hmm. for somebody else. But you're focused.
Right.
You're not just building something and then you can exit 3 to 5 years, because the world's full of those.
I often wonder. So this is going to lead into this in just a second, but I often wonder if having that mentality negatively impacts the passion in which you build a business. And speaking to somebody a month or 2 ago, and they said, I was dealing with somebody who's an employee, and he looked at me and he said, you need to understand something. You and I are entrepreneurs. We eat, sleep, and breathe our business. He said, I'll bet that you probably go to bed at night thinking about your businesses, at the time had to, and you wake up in the morning thinking about your businesses. And it's not a drain on me to do that. It's just, what do I need to get done? Oh, there's this opportunity. And I get energized by that, which is fantastic. Whereas an employee, comparatively now, I definitely wanted to do a great job for the organization. And when I worked for Girl Guides of Canada for 4.5 years, it was one of the few positions that I got immense satisfaction out of for the entire 4.5 years I was there. But that's really rare, I think, from an employee's perspective, because you're building somebody else. At the end of the day, you're not taking anything out of it, versus your target audience, which are people that are building their business and have that passion and drive because they know they're building, it's a piece of themselves that they've put out there.
Yep.
So when did, so you and I met, I think it was 2012, and I remember you had you were talking about this, but I'm not sure that it was officially out there, or where were you then?
This was I was sort of pulled into this in the sense that as I got involved with investing in early start or startup companies, I mean, you listen to a lot of presentations where people are looking for funding and investors, and I found myself having to again with the energy or the ADD where I sort of had to, if it isn't in front of me, I'm not going to pay attention to it. Right. So I started my due diligence process. I just started laying things out in front of me on one page that I could. So now I could start paying attention to everything that they were telling us in the presentation.
Right.
And I would layer that on top of sort of what I understood to be the business fundamentals that all businesses have to pay attention to. So in fact, I often visualize it as, the scales of justice. And on one side, you get a really great idea, really great business idea, product or service offering or whatever. And on the other side is the business engine. And what we're really doing is we're trying to, the world is not short on great ideas. There's a gazillion great ideas out there.
Short on execution.
But, I'll do some presentations and I'll say, okay, so who in the audience has had $1 million idea? And everybody will put up their hand. And then I'll say, okay, how many of us are millionaires? Yeah. And all the hands go down. Right? Well, it wasn't.
If I was a millionaire, I wouldn't be sitting here.
it wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
It was, the amount of energy and work and discipline to build a business engine around it that creates a business or commercializes that great idea. That's where we're falling down. And that's what I found with a lot of the businesses that are giving the presentations. They got great ideas. Over 30% of them are health services, which I want as I get older. I need that technology, right?
All about you.
But, they aren't going to crash and burn because it wasn't a great idea.
Yeah, execution.
Most of them are going to crash and burn because we didn't get the business engine right.
Yeah.
And that's where I started focusing in on my due diligence process. So it doesn't really matter, what sector the business is in. That's the product or service offer. The other 7 components, fundamentals that I started paying attention to, all had to deal with what we had to wrap around that great idea to make it successful as a business. And that's, I think, where the rubber hit the road. And so my due diligence process, I would lay this stuff out, and it armed me with the ability to, if I saw something missing in looking at, the business fundamentals that I knew had to be in place to drive the business, then I'd start asking the questions. And
well, you've got these years and years of driving these projects and working with these corporations and seeing what succeeds and what fails. I mean, this isn't just you going, I think I have a great idea.
Yeah.
This is you taking, education, experience, and knowledge and going, okay, seriously, I know what I'm talking about.
It's the applied stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It's the applied experience. And so I started having, I have the management team that would come to me after the presentation and say, okay, before you ask any more embarrassing questions, could you take us through your process? And so, well, I don't have a process. This is just how I think about business. No, you have a process.
Yeah.
And so I started working with management teams, and I quickly found out that, a lot of them just didn't know what they wanted to be when they grew up.
Yeah.
And
they hadn't picked their puppy.
Yeah.
They're
so started, and I thought initially that, okay, I helped them figure out, sort of let's get real succinct about what you want to build, and let's pick 3 years out from now. So you get out of the business plan, the annual business plan, but it's not 10 years from now because
it's too abstract.
It's too fluffy. Yeah, it's too fluffy, and there isn't, no business can with certainty predict 10 years from now. Not these days. Are you kidding? We have trouble with 5 years, even 3 years.
I got trouble with 2.
There you go. So I picked 3 years and helped them figure out, what they wanted to be when they grew up in 3 years, and then help them develop game plan. But I found very quickly that isn't where we have the issue, because you hear people out there talking about business plans, succession plans for family businesses, right? Everybody has a plan. Okay, the lawyers, the accountants, I mean, there isn't a legal firm or accounting firm that doesn't do succession planning or strategic planning in this country.
Right.
But what I found were people were thinking about either the structure of, so lawyers are thinking about the legal structure of succession planning. Accountants are thinking about the financial or the tax structure.
What they're forgetting about is the bridge that brings those.
It's about the execution of the strategy, and it's about breaking it down into an execution process that's weekly, not a bolt-on approach that you visit it once a quarter, once a year.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why we aren't executing. So I found very quickly that it wasn't about helping them with the destination, and it wasn't even about helping them with the strat plan. We were all, and I even encountered it running the business I did. We all have difficulty with the sustained execution of the strat plan or the succession plan. That's what I started focusing on, and that's the magic.
You had me thinking there for a second, because so I, for at my office and probably not so much for MCB Communications about business plans and what have you. And I started thinking about the value, and that's one thing that we're going to start touching on here is the value that you bring to clients who work with you. And the quarterly check-in that you're talking about, and I'm thinking, but from quarter to quarter, you could go down. Like going down could happen theoretically that fast if you are not being held in check to check in with what you're doing every week or two. And that might sound extreme to people, but I mean, I've watched businesses tank in 2-3 months because, they haven't got their stuff in gear and what have you. And so the value behind one of the tactics that you provide with the weekly check-ins as part of the service could help businesses potentially avoid that quarterly pitfall where you may have dug yourself into such a hole, which can happen if you have uncontrolled spending, uncontrolled expenses, uncontrolled, all of that stuff. You could theoretically burn through your money that fast versus having the weekly check-in where, an objective party is going, no, wait a minute. I understand you want the shiny new thing for your business, and I understand that down the road, that'll be beneficial to your long-term growth. But right now, let's look at your revenue and expense sheet and see if that's a logical choice.
Yeah, although I
know that's a weeds detail, but
no, I mean cash flow is king in any business for sure. But strategy is dealing. I mean, you're describing more business plan. Strategy is longer term. Okay, and it's really designed. I find for most businesses, what's typically holding them back what typically accelerates or moves them forward is understanding what are the barriers, what's holding them back, okay, or what opportunities are they not leveraging.
Right.
One of you address either of those two things, that business is going to move forward.
Right.
Okay, and so that's what becomes the focus. I mean, the process of strategy is all about having a very clear destination of where you're taking the business,
right?
Understanding the metrics that are pay attention to the metrics that you make sure that they have to drive you forward, and they should be based on what they call the lead metrics or the actions that are going to drive the lag metrics, which are the financials. Everybody tends to go to the money, and in fact, what I focus on with most of my clients is what are the actions that are going to create the money. Let's forget about the money, build it and they will come kind of approach that says, what are we going to focus on? We're going to focus in on developing our pipeline, on our pre-qualification, and the close rate of new deals or whatever. It's those actions and what are you doing to improve that ultimately is going to improve your financial, your balance sheet, and it's going to improve your financials for your business. So it's about paying attention to the priorities. So in any business, I describe it like building I don't know if you're a puzzler or not, you build puzzles, but
jigsaw puzzle?
It's interesting how when you build a puzzle, what do you do? What's the first thing you do? You lay out all the pieces on the table in front of you, and you turn them up so you know what you're working with. Second is you put the box up there so you know what you're building. Okay?
Yeah.
Third is that then typically people will want to do the straight edges. And then they'll
I was always that kid that served with the middle chunk. That could be the problem.
Well, maybe that's okay. You're another story.
Well,
yeah.
I don't.
But same with the business. I mean, every business has a gazillion moving parts. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, and so what I was finding was that in order to pay attention to the right fundamentals, we had to lay them out in front. And that's what I found I was doing with my due diligence process. I was laying out, all the mission critical things for that business that I was seeing had to happen. And where I saw something missing, I would ask the question. And so it almost became a discovery process for businesses where we'd start laying out everything mission critical of business, and we'd be organizing it into these 8 business fundamentals I pay attention to. And all of a sudden, you had all the pieces of the puzzle laying in front of you. You knew what you knew what you were building because we figured out what we wanted to be in 3 years. You knew the metrics, and we had everything mission critical in front of us. So now everything had equal footing, and so we could very quickly. Management teams very quickly can figure out, okay, what are the top issues, the barriers that are holding us back, or the opportunities that we can leverage, and it just becomes so clear, and that's why I started calling it the strategic success dashboard, because it really is a dashboard. It had everything mission critical, and I don't know a business out there that isn't limited by resources, whether it's time or whether it's money, but in order to execute strategy, number one, you can't do buckshot. You can't do everything and solve everything in the next month. So with limited resources, we have to prioritize. So what I found was this process really got them focused quickly on what was most important to their business that was going to drive the business forward. And then it was just a case of focusing on that and saying, what's critical? What do we have to fix?
It's hard when you're in knee deep in it too.
Well, the outside perspective is huge because you and I will look at a business different than the management team will.
Yeah.
Somebody that's in the business is always going to look at it differently.
You have that sweat equity component. We're just so we've only got about 10 minutes left, and you've got some really amazing. There's one thing I wanted to ask you too with the weekly check-ins. Is that also an opportunity? Because you made the mention, which is fantastic that you're very optimistic that all businesses have an opportunity to move forward. I love that. But reality is some businesses try to continue to move forward when in fact they should look at the best way to, shut it down. You're at that point where, you've given it best shot. There's something missing in the market or whatever. So is that weekly, check-in also an opportunity for you to say, you know what, guys?
No, I haven't encountered that.
Not yet?
No, because first of all, this all started with startups, but in fact, I haven't worked with a startup for the last 2 years. They've all been family businesses or small or medium-sized businesses. So they're already established businesses.
Right.
Because what I found out very quickly was if I wanted to make impact with business, I was the best way of doing that was to work with existing businesses and really help them accelerate or grow,
right?
Rather than play in the startup. I mean, there's all sorts of government support programs, there's work centers and whatever that are there to support the startup community.
Right.
That's great. But it's the medium-sized or small business or family businesses that really every single business I look at, I know they have greater potential. I don't know how to access that yet, but my passion is it's almost like Christmas where you get to open up a box and you don't know what's in the box. You just know it's something really neat.
A box of chocolates.
And what I find is working with business. First of all, it's a privilege because these people have worked hard to develop the business and get the business to where it is. But at the same time, what I've learned is I don't know where we can unlock value. I don't know where we can accelerate the growth.
But they do somewhere.
But every single time, this is a discovery. This isn't my magic. This is just following a disciplined process that helps them understand everything mission critical of business so that they can focus the right priorities. And it's amazing what comes out of it. I mean, every single time we followed this process, there has been success with the client.
There's been learning
and so it's I mean, I find it exciting because I never know what's going to come out of this. Every business's starting point is different, no question. And so, they may have skill sets that are strong or are weak or whatever. They may be a different stage life cycle of their business, but it doesn't matter. Every single time we followed the process, they've been able to grow substantially or increase performance or whatever. And it's helping. It's getting their knowledge first in front of them, and I'm talking the collective management team. But I've also learned that, by bringing in outside what I call strategic participants into the process as well, they get the benefit of their own knowledge, getting down so it's organized for them, but they also get the outside perspective. So you and I could easily contribute to, because we're looking at somebody's business different than they ever would.
Yes.
And so the bottom line is we're able to build a much better dashboard that captures everything mission critical to their business better than they ever could have done on their own.
Oh, for certain.
And then if we start helping them take action on a weekly basis, so that they start embedding sort of strategic thinking into their day-to-day, week-to-week thinking, what I find is within 3 to 6 months, they're getting really good at executing strategy, and they don't even have to think about it. Because it's like driving the car. When you first learn, I mean, you're having to think about, looking here, looking at that mirror, about putting in gear, about the brakes, and it's very mechanical. But when you start, as you gain the experience of it, all of a sudden it becomes second nature. And that's the difference in terms of, visiting strategy once a quarter, once a year, like most do. The joke is you gotta blow the dust off of the document before you can even look at it. The successful companies with this are the ones that they start adopting strategy into the culture, into the way they do business, and so it starts creating successful. It's no different. It's no different than a personal trainer at the gym. I mean, I can give you a training program that's going to take you to the Olympics, Elizabeth.
Awesome.
Will you get there?
No.
but the challenge is, it's easy to develop the plan.
Yeah.
But the biggest challenge, frankly, is that first step to the gym. And I've adopted a 70% is good kind of approach that says, look, let's just get going on this. We can figure out what the program is once we get to the gym. We can figure out what equipment we want to get on once we get to the gym.
But let's just go.
We got to get to the gym.
Well, I was just seeing here. So we're gonna get to these points here because they're really good. But you got me thinking that one of the reasons maybe businesses, the massive benefit of that check-in is that, and I know having started 2 businesses, the details can get really overwhelming, and you can get paralysis by analysis because you're looking at everything that you need to do. And the idea of stepping into the gym just creates such a sense of, holy crap, how am I ever gonna, see, we can do crap on there, we just can't do the other one. How am I ever going to make all this happen? And I tend to be one of those people that just sort of says, we'll just do it. I'm not, initially anyway, and it's not until I get knee deep into the weeds, then I'm like, I should probably pause for a moment and get a weed whacker because wow, this is a lot.
Well, but you're going to get overwhelmed if you try and tackle everything.
Yeah.
That's, the studies are out there that show very clearly that you try and address 5 or 10 things, you aren't going to get anything done.
Yes. If
you focus on just 2 or 3 and get some early successes and whatever, then it's going to be rewarding, and you also get to focus. Second thing is you got to break it down into bite-sized pieces.
But I think that's where a lot of people. So that's what I wanted to touch on this, because one of the things I always like to start to end with is the outcomes. And so we've actually you touched on that really, really well, which is the outcomes. People end up with an actionable plan that takes the paralysis out of moving forward. They now have chunks executable chunks that are manageable. They have the expertise to now give them the objective direction to get these things done. When it's your personal business, the sweat equity factor can sometimes overwhelm, the intelligence factor. I've worked so hard on this, I should just keep doing it this way. Versus having somebody like you and your team come in, become a part of their team short term, and remove all of that chaos so that they can see the path to move forward. So that was one of the thoughts I scribbled down.
Yeah, I just provide the structure. We work in concert with them.
Yeah.
To develop the weekly action plans,
Mm-hmm.
and then the platform just monitors their progress. So before we even connect for the 1 hour a week kind of thing,
mm-hmm.
because it's a virtual platform, I can tell whether they've been able to execute on last week's actions that everybody committed to or not, and that becomes the starting point right there. And it's understanding, okay, if something didn't get done, why didn't it get done? Did they just forget to check it off, or is this a systemic issue? But what do we have to do to make sure that does get done?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next question is, because we're late on that, has it affected anything else in the plan?
Again.
But then what it does is it makes sure that we capture, if we're running into a roadblock, we capture it within 1 week. Like it isn't a month or two later that we find out, we had a problem. And so that's what keeps it moving forward. And it's also the weekly accountability.
Let's touch on that for a second, because one of the things that we haven't touched on, and we definitely need to, is the fact that your services are offered through a virtual dashboard. So each client gets an account.
Yep.
That, the actionable items after the R&D component are put together. And they are checking in through that 24/7 access dashboard so that they can go in and go, we talked about a lot. I mean, developing a business can be overwhelming. Making those changes can be overwhelming. You lose the details. And so those are captured all by you and your team and put into an area where
it's captured. It's captured with them. As soon as we start the process, we create the dashboard for their business online, and it's their dashboard. Mm-hmm. And they just sign in and access it. And they use it, it's now theirs. We just help them. Same with the action plans, which are integrated to it. So the dashboard, any high priority items, that what we call the intense priorities for the business, mm-hmm. the top priorities, the system automatically creates an action plan for them, and then we build that out. So it's theirs. It's their platform to use for their business. And I just once a week I check in with them, and they take me through their action plans.
And this is a virtual check-in.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's and that's one
very efficient.
One constraint that a lot of business owners have is setting aside that hour that they have to travel somewhere to meet with a coach, and it's very disruptive to your day, and it takes time out of doing things more effectively. So one of the main advantages of Doug's Unlimited in the dashboard system is that you're still getting that personal attention, you're still getting that personal coaching, but it's a much more manageable way to fit it into your day and integrate it as part of your team.
High touch, light touch. Yeah, I had somebody, I had a business owner say to me one time, okay, I want you to help me figure out where I want to take this beast, mm-hmm. and then I want you to get the hell out of the way after we've got it organized.
We've gone from puppies to beasts.
Look at it, the businesses I'm working with, they are very smart individuals.
Right.
Very smart. And, so this isn't about teaching them anything. What business owner, I hear it all the time, where business owners saying, look, I have built this business, and what are you going to come in and tell me, about my business? Well, frankly, nothing. But what I can do is, seeing 50 businesses a year. Tell me I don't have cross-fertilization here, that I can bring other business experience from other businesses.
Right.
Or our process includes bringing in, one of the questions I ask the management team is, if you could bring in any two people, mm-hmm. to sit around this table and help us develop your business strategy, who would you love to invite in?
John C. Maxwell and Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Okay, you're going to a different place here.
No.
Now,
they're.
So that, you know, there's opportunity to take advantage of and leverage that outside perspective.
Right.
And it isn't just mine. I mean, it's so that, you know, as we get into this process, I mean, we're able to really expand on what they're able to do. And that's what really excites me is let's see what this puppy can do. That's, you know, but I get the opportunity to do that with dozens of companies.
Yeah.
And that's what, so I was having fun with just one before. I don't think I could go back to just one now because I learned every time we go through this process.
Right.
And yet,
then you get to pass that on.
Oh, exactly. And so, awesome. You know, it's about bringing that breadth of knowledge and paying attention to the business engine. It doesn't matter what the product or service offering is.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter, because what we're focused on is the business engine that you got to surround that with, and it's going to accelerate that and make a business out of it.
Put some coal in the
engine. No, so that's what the secret is.
Yeah.
And it's you know, it's interesting. I have two beautiful daughters, and the best times that we had chats weren't talking, you know, at each other. It was doing things together.
Yeah.
And with business, it's the same. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do with their business. I'm not here even to give advice. I mean, some people have said I ask questions for a living. It's like, well, okay, yeah. I've seen this as an important element of other businesses.
Right.
Is it pertinent to yours? Oh, it is. Okay. Well then, does it deserve a spot on your dashboard?
Right.
And so it's about getting the business up to its maximum potential as quickly as possible, focusing on the things that are going to remove the barriers, or are going to leverage the opportunities,
and
then helping them make it happen, and creating that accountability. When you go to the gym every week, number
so
one,
cute. That doesn't happen.
Number one, I know you do, sure. Number one, you're gonna look after your exercises, because you know that you're meeting SPEM Thursday afternoon. Okay.
If I had a SPEM, I'd probably go to the gym.
Well, you see, it's all about. So you're number one, chances are you're gonna do the exercises, because you know you've committed to meet SPEN.
You know, I'm going to call you SPEN from now on.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. Thank you. But when you get to the gym, what's SPEN going to do? He's going to make sure that you're doing your exercises right. He's going to motivate you. He's going to, if you're doing it wrong or whatever, he's going to help you correct it.
Yeah.
Okay. If he thinks you can take more on and add more exercise, he's going to give you more, but he's going to be there with you, not telling you what to do, but in fact helping you do it. Exactly. He's not going to do the exercises for you,
but he's going to make sure you get on that treadmill.
Well, hey, and that's the big back to the original issue. The issue isn't about developing a strat plan or a succession plan or positioning the business, a plan to position the business for what I call the lucrative exit, selling to a strategic suitor rather than just a financial buyer. It's about executing, moving the business forward, and executing, not just planning.
So that
everybody chats.
That 45 minutes that you thought would be so hard to fill, we've actually gone over. We've gone way over.
What are we going to do for 45 minutes?
Well, I can tell you, you're chattier than I am. You're my little girlfriend. But so the last thing I want to ask you, and we're way over, is what are you most proud of? Short answer. Shortest answer you can possibly think.
The success of clients.
Awesome.
I find, like I say, it's like Christmas when we start with a client. I don't know what's going to be in the present in the box, but I love discovery, because it's not a question of whether they have the potential to grow in virtually any of the businesses that we've worked with so far. It's been how far are we going to take this? What can we do with this puppy? So to me, it's the excitement, it's the value creation, and it's the success of the clients.
Awesome.
That's my love for this.
Well, so we won't go back to you're no longer a podcast version.
I guess not. Does that make me?
Well, you're not slutty yet, so it's all good. But thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
And I love what you're doing. And I can't imagine that there is any business, that doesn't need a moment to evaluate their finances and kind of go, okay, how do we, because the return on investment is so potentially big that in any type of business, in any type of, when you're experiencing a recession, there's certain things you cut. But there's also certain things that you need to take on as a valuable expense. So I think if a company, regardless if you're in trouble, regardless of where you are, this is something that you need to look at, because you're not sweating night and day. You're not going to bed thinking of your business and waking up thinking of your business, only to tank it because you don't have the right team on board. So thank you for this. This was awesome. Thank you for joining me. This was Elizabeth Plouffe with Across the Desk and my guest, Doug Osborne from Doug's Unlimited. And you are www.dougsunlimited.com.
Correct.
Woohoo! And we will have all this information up on the blog post or anything.
Thank you.
Thank you.